On day 1, I was performing to an underground audience, and in the middle of all this, I just shot someone while screaming. And I also made out with some random girl. And of course, how can we ignore my silver hand? Afterwards, I was looking for the gal outside and a bunch of losers tried to fight me. And in the middle of all this, someone just stabbed me with arm blades. I fell to the ground while he took away my gal. A few hours later, some journalist called Thompson saved me and told me that them boys took my gal because she had something they wanted. My stitches were fresh, but my gal was fresher, so I wanted her back quickly. I went to the club to hire some losers to save my gal. And apparently we were old friends. Conveniently, them boys tracked us down and was ready to kill us, but I was just getting started, boys. I was a well-trained shooter with one-shot kill pistol. Even my team was impressed, but you know, we were even chased in the car until we reached the building. So these losers were Arasaka goons. Apparently it's this big mega corporation in Japan, but has also sunk their teeth in the States by controlling the military and finance. Inside the facility, we faced some more of Arasaka losers until we found my gal, but it was too late. Her conscience was uploaded into the clouds. It's basically internet but for brains. I don't know. In the heat of the moment, I just beat the fuck out of Thompson because he was recording all this. I mean, it's not his fault, he's just a journalist. He was just keeping tabs on the story. On day 2, I gave one last performance to my fans and went on to blow up the Arasaka Tower as a payback for what they did to my gal. We got into this baddest looking chopper with machine gun for decoration, but mostly for killing. As we were flying throughout the city, I saw the Arasaka people already waiting for us on the roof, but I was able to put him down with my machine gun. It was like a massacre. As I touched ground, I grabbed the device and went inside to blow up the tower. After hacking the system and planting the bomb, I was ready to get out, but I got blew up by some rocket launcher. What in the God's name? Have some mercy. Lo and behold, Mr. Atom Smasher, he looked like I'll be back if he was made up of metal. The spiky girl took me to the chopper and I was hanging for dear life, but the Atom Smasher just shot me down. Basically, epic fail. When I came back to life, I realized I was tied up by some Asian looking lady and she was doing voodoo on me. And there I met Saburo, the mastermind behind Arasaka. So basically, their form of torture was to upload my conscience to the black wall while slowly killing me by doing some sort of voodoo on my brain. And let me just tell you, it was painful. On day 3, I found myself in the wasteland and there was this big black guy dragging my body. While the big black guy was explaining himself as to why he was dragging my body, the Asian Bond just wiped him clean like pow. And of course, he was one of the Arasaka goons. I tried to ask for help, but he just bitch slapped me to the afterlife. And that's when I realized I wasn't Johnny Silverhand, but rather Bobby Golden Bum. The next time when I opened my eyes, he was holding his junk as if someone just shot his jewels. He gave me some coke to snort because we were being chased by Andrew Tate, and he not only brought his brother but also all his sweet Alabama cousins. The moment I got rid of his cousins, Andrew Tate got possessed and he jumped on my car and pulled out machete to chop off my head, but he got crashed into the pole. And this Asian Bond was patching my holes like, dude, what do you want from me? After dozing off for so many hours, I saw the doctor panicking about the Asian Bond's jewels. I mean, the future of his generation was at the mercy of his jewels, so somehow the doctor knew who I was, but I had no recollection, and they were calling him Victor. Okay, so here's the deal. Something happened and I lost conscience, and all that Silverhand shenanigans were just memories from a different person, and he's living inside my brain because I put his chip inside me? When? How? I don't remember. What in the actual fuck? Okay, so it's a biochip and it will take control of my mind and body. And I only got a few weeks, so I better call my loved ones. Oh shit, I got none. Anyways, after resting for a bit, I finally saw Silverhand in action right in front of me. But it was just my conscience. So after beating myself and sleeping in the shower, I finally saw my face. And oh damn, I look like the whitest black guy ever. I went from Johnny Silverhand to Bobby Golden Bum. Am I in trouble? On day 4, I got a call from the Asian Bond and he wanted to meet, but I wasn't sure if this was a good idea. Finally, I met Takamuro, the Asian Bond, and he was talking about someone murdering his old boss and that I was the only witness, but I don't remember anything. I still decided to help him because apparently he can extract my memories of the day I witnessed the murder. I also had a civil talk with Johnny since the apartment incident where he tried to kill me with my own hands, and he explained his side of the story, which makes sense, so we good now.
Hey, wasn't easy for me either. You woke up in a landfill, I woke up in your head. Wrestling with your thoughts, memories. Think we're even.
He also wanted me to meet his spiky gal from the heydays who left him to die on the roof, but she might be able to help us. On day 5, I was on my way to the spiky gal and I had a malfunction in my brain. And in that moment, I saw a memory from a different time. It was quick, but I still remembered the face. Anyways, back in the club, I finally met the spiky gal and she wanted me to do some errands for her. She also linked me with Judy, who was a good technician, but Judy had a friend who was dealing with the wrong people and now she was missing. So she wanted me to help her first. Jeez, what's with all these favors? On day 6, I went to one of the clubs to find Judy's friend Evelyn. After antagonizing the prostitutes, I found out where Evelyn might be. But there was this big bouncer who was manhandling me, like, come on dude. So I cut him into pieces and carried on. I blasted like 20 dudes on my way back. On day 7, I was finally able to track down Judy's friend and we went to rescue her from the thugs. I tried to be sneaky, but they caught me dropping bodies left and right. So I had to blast my way into the facility. We finally found her. She was bleeding, but she will be fine. The next day, I was driving and I got a call from a car dealer who was selling cars, but my broadcast couldn't even afford a bike. On day 9, I met with Takamura again and he was trying to reason with the bodyguard of the son who killed his own father. And I just realized the dead man is Saburo who killed Johnny. What in the holy Japanese karma is this? On day 10, I blasted a few Asian gangs on the street to keep Night City safe, but the cops decided to put a target on my ass instead, so I had to run away. I also found this electrocuted, possessed, instant transmission invisible lady. She was crazy, so I had to blast her off too. On day 11, I decided to change my drip into being topless with straps on, and I found another maniac killing cops, so we had a small blasting contest. Oh, I forgot, the spiky girl told me about some nomad called Panam. She could potentially help me with my multiple personality disorder, but I don't know, man. So on day 12, I made my way from the city into the desert to see Panam. And the same old, you know, you do a favor for me and I'll do a favor for you. Some goon stole her car and she wanted it back. And she also had trust issues, so I had to get the crusty car first. And oh, Johnny was giving his passive-aggressive remarks as usual, but I had gotten used to Keanu Reeves talking in my brain by now. As for Panam, she was a mean green machine to the point that I was sitting in the passenger seat for the entire ride. First, we went to her nomadic village in the desert to get the rocket launcher, and then we went to one of the abandoned gas stations. We waited until dark and then attacked them. As usual, I was blasting my way through everyone, but some of them could dodge my bullets like anime characters. And I finally got the car. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty handy car for the desert road. And the person who stole Panam's car was still around and she wanted me to blast his base. As soon as we reached the base, they started shooting as if they were expecting us, and they even called their goons, but that wasn't enough for my pump shotgun. And finally we ended the night at the bar with a few drinks, but I don't drink, so she got drunk by herself and went to sleep. While I had my second seizure, and this time I remembered his name, Jackie, and he was pointing a gun at me, and after a moment we were both pinned down to the ground by cops. The next day I woke up and went straight for Tan Palan. It's a place for relaxing. Apparently there was this guy who could help me, but I gotta meet the right hand man first, called Plessis, and of course he wanted me to do something for him first.
What the hell?
Could f***ing tell me what you plan to do first.
You take job. You do what I say. So you jack in now.
Whoa, okay buddy, I don't know who you think you are, but I comply. It was cool and all until I reached the job site. There were these big juiced up Arnold Schnitzers waiting for me at the door, and I knew it was impossible to get in. So I decided to grab my sniper rifle and headshot them. I didn't think it would work, but geez, even I couldn't believe this incredible shot, because the dude was running in the future with this kind of speed, and the fact that I was able to get him was satisfying. I went inside to get more of these losers, but they closed the gate on me. So I decided to jump on them from the roof, and there was like at least 50 dudes waiting for me. I mean, I was dropping bodies left and right, but there was no end to it. Jeez, what time is it? After so many bullets, I was finally able to get to the van and grab what I needed. But you see, there's this Matilda Rose who roams around these ends, and no one gets past through her. Not even V. So I had no choice but to face her, and I got hammered by her, like literally. And she was was passing these remarks like, oh, you like this? You like that? If I could die, I would have killed myself. She was very fast for her size, so my only option was this pump shotgun. And oh boy, trust me when I say I pumped her up. I really did. Her hammering and my pumping made us go through dimensions. But I was able to hammer her to the ground by the end. And finally, I was able to get to the mastermind behind all this and kill them. And after connecting to his chip, I got another seizure. And it brought me back my lost memories where I was having fun with Jackie. We were doing errands and getting hammered together in the clubs. I didn't realize I had a friend like that. And after some time, I came back to my senses and there was Johnny waiting for me. I spent like 3 days inside and Placid's goons were waiting for me outside to deliver me to the final boss, Miss Brigitte. Anyways, we went on blabbling about my condition and finally she put me in an ice tube to recollect Johnny's memories. That's where I learned that Johnny's flank alt was still there on the other side of the black wall and she could never come back to our world again, but she might still be able to help us. On day 17, Johnny was telling me about my memories which I had lost. As I was remembering his memory, he told me about Jackie and that we used to be friends. And then something happened, but it wasn't his place to tell me. I will have to find out for myself. All we knew was that we had the same enemy and it was Arasaka. On day 18, I was told to get to the Dogtown and that there will be someone who might be able to help me. But you see, Dogtown is not like any other city. It's run by a private militia who's funded by the government and it was really hard to get in. I was at the border and someone tried to hack my brain network which caused me and Johnny to have a seizure, and that's when we met Songbird for the first time. The music was tensing up as she was explaining herself. The weird part was that she could also interact with Johnny. What in the? Who is this gal? Oh, she was a netrunner. Apparently she was with the president in a spaceship in the sky and it was about to crash land in Dogtown and she wanted me to rescue the president. In exchange, she would help me with my broken relic in my brain. I didn't trust her for one bit, but I had no other choice, so I did what she asked for. I crossed the border through a dumpster and drop-kicked a few soldiers. I also bought a new jacket with a mask to blend in and now on to the mission. The next day, I made my way through an abandoned building into Dogtown and oh boy, it was unlike anything else. There was this big black market for everything. It was unorganized but felt very organic. I bought a few guns from this cool-looking dealer and upgraded my cyberware because I was getting ready for war. As I climbed up the elevator, I realized that this market was in an abandoned stadium. But why does everything looks old and broken? What is wrong with this city? I was looking for the spaceship in the sky and it got shot down by a rocket launcher. As it was crash landing in Dogtown, I chased it from the roof. The music was building up and there were other individuals who were also racing towards the spaceship. But when I reached the ground, I was shocked because of how torn down the city was. What happened? There were private militia groups surrounding the crash site, so I had to blast my way through. But let me tell you, these guys weren't playing. They had body armors, high-grade weapons, and good combat skills. At one point, I thought I wouldn't make it because of how ruthless these guys were. As I got close, the fire was blowing heat on my face, and the smoke was blocking the sky. And there were more of these guys jumping into the battleground like, what? I fought my way until I reached the spacecraft and I went inside to look for the president. And I got dropkicked by some old lady. Oh, never mind, she's the president. Great. I don't know why the militia wanted to capture her, but we fought our way out of there. There were even these giant robot suits with machine guns and no mercy, and all I had was my pump shotgun. So I pumped all these losers until there was no one left, and finally we were able to get to another abandoned building, but there were still people following us. As I was removing the tracking chip from her, one of the big drones spotted us and started shooting mercilessly. There were soldiers on the ground and drones in the sky to rain bullets on us, but I had one job: to keep the president alive, and that's exactly what I did. The moment we reached the ground, I grabbed one of the cars and we drove to one of her safe zones, or as we thought, it was an ambush, but Songbird was able to hack this giant robot and it blasted everyone away. But as they say, you can never trust a crab machine, because the metal crab decided to have a brain of its own and chased us to our own demise. Even after dropping the roof on the metal giant crab, it still didn't even faze him. But on the other hand, I'm sure I was missing missing a few screws. And now there was no way to run, so we had to face him. And we targeted the weak spots under its legs with grenades and shotguns. It wasn't easy when there's a giant metal robot crap trying to kill you, because it could shoot lasers, rockets, unlimited bullets, anything that it could think of. The moment I saw the brain was exposed, I jumped on him and separated the brain from the body with my trusty arm blade, and it finally put it to rest while blasting me away. After 3 days in the underground, we made our way through the tunnels into a new safe house, and it seemed like Songbird was kidnapped, and now I had another leash on my neck because I need Songbird for my relic, but I'll have to find her first. On the way, I had another seizure and I was slowly remembering my old memories. This time it was about this lady who was looking sad. After reaching the safe house, we restarted the generators and took refuge for another 5 days until the dust settled. During this time, the president informed me of this one person that she could trust, and it was her agent called Solomon Reed. She abandoned her agent 8 years ago, but she still thinks that he might help us. She also wanted me to join her intelligence agency of secret agents, but Johnny was extremely against it, so I declined the offer. On day 29, I was on my way to find the Solomon Reed guy, and Johnny was happy that I didn't join the president's team, and his reason was,
Because with the biz done, their arm will still be far up your ass and you'll be a meat puppet.
I was walking around Dogtown to get a feel of it, and let's just say it was exhilarating. And oh, I bought the small vehicle for the narrow streets of Dogtown. I also found the abandoned store where I could contact Solomon Reed for a meetup. And the next day, I finally met this big black handsome of a man called Solomon Reed. He was a very charismatic individual, but very secretive, of course, because of his past trust issues. We talked about a few things like the president being safe and Songbird missing. Apparently, he knows Songbird. On the way, we had another encounter with the militia group again, not sure why, but okay. It was out of the blue and I was kind of rusty because of all those loose screws in my body. Afterwards, we met the president, and oh, Hansen is the guy who owns the militia group, and he might be the one who kidnapped Songbird. I just got informed that Reed's recruited Songbird and trained her to be part of this intelligence agency. Interesting, so even Reed's is keeping secrets from me. Okay, so he wants me to find Songbird, and in return, he will talk to her about my rally. We shook hands and called it a truce. The next day, I murdered a lady for no reason and stole a car from one of the gangs and brought it to the car dealer for some change. And oh, in order to get in and out of Dogtown, I had to go through this border security with laser scanning and auto machine gun pointing at me. Don't you think it's a bit much? And I spent the rest of the night blasting Hansen's goons. On day 32, I delivered another car and met with Takamura finally. We talked a lot, but honestly, I zoned out when he started speaking Japanese. All I got was that I had to infiltrate one of the Arasaka's complex for something important, and that's all. The next day, I went to the bar to meet with Reeds and the owner, Alex. They had a complicated relation, but apparently she didn't knew he was alive for the past 8 years. Wow, that's some deep shit, and after some convincing, she decided to join the team. On the way, I found this drop package from the sky, and there wasn't anything useful. I nearly got killed for the stupid package for no reason. On day 34, me and Reeds decided to pay a visit to Voodoo Boys and destroyed one of their tracking machines. There we met Slider, and through him we were able to track down Songbird, but he died in the process. So now we had to fight our way out of there because these Voodoo Boys were getting crazy. On day 35, we decided to infiltrate Hansen's hotel to find Songbird, but we couldn't just walk in, so we had to sneak from the back door. I went through a water channel under the building and made my way inside the hotel. From there, I grabbed one of the snipers and helped Reed to go through security by shooting anything that moved. After successfully getting inside, we decided to change into more formal clothing and join the party. There were big names in the game, but I didn't know anyone. After hanging around for some time, we finally met Songbird, but she looked different from her relic avatar. More metal than I like, but I can work with that. And to my surprise, Songbird was the one who betrayed Reeds 8 years ago by selling him to the opposition for her freedom. What in the holy jeez, this chick is crazy. And in unexpected series of events, I finally met Hansen. He was quite an intimidating man, and he had these metal arms to show for it. Did he just grab Songbird's metal cheeks? Like, bruh. We shook hands man to man and he left us be. Now I had to scan the behavior imprints of these two French siblings. But before that, we had a surprise performance by the one and only Lazy Wazy. She's a metallic masterpiece. But I must focus on the mission. So I went on to play poker with these French siblings. Not gonna lie, the Aurora one was quite the piece. I was even thinking about our future after everything is said and done. I was scanning their imprints while we were playing poker, and I wasn't expecting, but I won the last game. Afterwards, Hansen came to warn me that he knew about everything and that he already captured Reeds, but he's willing to let us go if we just get out quietly. And the songbird came to him on her own terms. Very interesting. She didn't tell us about this. And oh, I also got the chance to say hello to Lazy Wazy. She's quite the piece. No? On the way out, the militia goons were antagonizing me and Reeds, and I had enough and blasted every single one of these losers. Cause I ain't a bitch. If Reed dies, he dies, but not my dignity. I ain't scared of these losers, but we made it out alive. I waited for a few days, and on day 38, I went to see Panam again because she wanted me to track down some sort of aircraft and blow up this tower, satellite tower. So we drove inside to plant C4s, but we got chased by these stupid drones. I was able to destroy the tower, but one of the aircrafts got away. So she pulled out the rocket launcher and blew it up in the sky. This chick is crazy. We went to track down the crash site, but the drones chased us again. Jeez, man. In the meantime, some nomads also started chasing the aircraft, thinking it was a lost cargo. The crash site was surrounded by this robotic militia, so I had to take them down. And I also disabled the auto-aim rockets from the aircraft and saved one of the nomads inside. But one of Panam's friends didn't make it. I mean, a boo-hoo. Get over it, man. Anyways, the next day we tracked down those who survived the crash site with these motorcycles in the desert. Apparently, they were hiding in one of the gas stations, and the gas station was surrounded by these gangs, and I couldn't recognize them, so we blasted everyone away. And inside the gas station, I found this Hellman guy and knocked him out cold. Even Johnny had some sort of grudge with this guy, but I couldn't recognize his face. I also called Takamura and informed him about this Hellman guy. Even Takamura had problems with him. I mean, what did you do, bruh? Outside, all the nomads pulled up to help us, but everything was already good. Panam also gave me her dead friend's bike. I mean, I'll take it. It was fun to drive. On day 40, we interrogated Hellman in a random hotel. Oh, he designed the biochip that Arasaka used to store Johnny's engram, and now it's in my head. Wait, so they can just casually transfer one's conscious into another body? But why they still kept Johnny's engram? No wonder why Johnny hates Arasaka. They killed his gout and imprisoned him for life in a biochip. It doesn't get any worse. Anyway, so Takamura came and took him away. After they left, I had another seizure attack because my neural network had completely collapsed. Even Johnny was getting worried about me. In that bleak moment, I saw my past memories again, and it was the big black guy Dexter who got shot by Takamura. He was talking with Jackie. There were still pieces missing and I didn't know what was going on. After resting for 2 days, I went to one of Arasaka's ground to hack the floating. Even I don't know what that means. As I went inside, I got pressed by these high-grade militia dudes. They were even worse than Hansen's people. They were trying to hack my cyberware during fighting, and I couldn't use some of my perks, but I could always rely on my trusty shotgun. After hacking their system, I got away while blasting everyone. I thought I was gonna get chased to death, but it seemed everything was fine. On day 44, I went to see Reeds and Alex, and we went through the plan on how to track down the French siblings. It was the only way to get close to Hansen to rescue Songbird. On day 45, I tracked down their routes through the antennas in the city, and the next day Songbird called me to clear up things once and for all. So basically, she was the one behind the president's attack and Hansen helped her. She also said that she didn't want it to die and was gonna run away once she got the AI matrix, which could fix both of us, but I still had my doubts about her. Okay, back to the plan. On day 47, I went to one of the cyberware clinic to get the imprints of the siblings, but there was Reed waiting for me in the clinic. He wanted to capture Songbird and give her the medical care she needed, but she also had to face judgment for her crimes. Now I was in a predicament. Should I help Reeds capture Songbird or help her run away? I don't know. And then there was Johnny calling me a traitor for not helping Reeds. Anyways, I finally got the imprints for the French brother. It was a miracle. Even I didn't knew it was possible. I looked exactly like him. Even worse, I sounded like him. On day 48, I tracked down the French siblings' car and hacked it while hiding in the trunk. The moment we hit the road, I took control of the car and drove these losers to the hotspot. When we arrived, they got electrocuted and their bodies were dragged to the ground. Before I could even blink, they shot the siblings right in the head. Okay, I was shocked and angry. Who are these people? I was planning my future with Aurora and now she was dead. I don't think I can trust anyone in the city. This put a bad taste in my mouth for Reed and Alex. Anyways, on day 49, we went to see Hansen. Apparently, we had some sort of a business deal. But Hansen had prepared a few questions to see if I'm real or just an imposter. We went inside to greet him, but I had to remember a few facts about Emmerich, the French brother. We sat down for a glass of wine and he did some interrogation. It was pretty interesting. I was able to answer everything correctly, even the fact that I lost the poker game to V. Afterwards, I went down to put the codes in the machine while Alex stayed with Hansen in the meeting room. Downstairs, I met with Songbird, but she didn't know that Reed wanted to capture her. I really wanted to help Reed because he seemed less crazy than Songbird, but then I remembered Aurora, the French girl, and he shot her right in front of me. At that moment, I decided to help Songbird escape and not get captured by Reed. At least I would get a cure if nothing else. So I gave thumbs up to Alex and she carved Hansen into pieces. Jeez, these Night City chicks are crazy. I grabbed Songbird and we made a run for it, but she seemed unwell and slow. So I had to protect her from Hansen's goons. We blasted our way out of Hansen's building and into the Dogtown black market. Some of them even had thick armors which was hard to penetrate. On day 50, we made our way through the underground tunnel and finally outside the city. She said she will call me when everything is set in place, but we will have to wait and see. On day 51, I met with Takamura again to go through the plan on how to inform Saburo's daughter about her brother killing her own father. And this parade was the only day that she would appear in public, and that was our chance. The next day was the parade. Beautiful neon lights in the darkness of the night with a traditional floating aircraft carrying Arasaka's second prized possession, Hanako, the daughter of Saburo. Okay, so first I climbed 3 floors on the other side to take down the snipers, and then I climbed back down 3 floors to take down the rest of the security. There were also these big drones that needed to be taken care of. As I reached the ground, I met one of Takamura's students, Oda, who was a blind dual neon blade slashing samurai. He was so fast that he could dodge my bullets, so I had to use his rules against him by dodging when he got close and blast him when he tried to slash because he couldn't dodge and attack at the same time. And during our battle, I realized that he could even go invisible, so I had to keep him in my sight and shoot his ass even when I couldn't see him. At the end, Takamura stopped me from killing him because he was his student and I had nothing personal, so I left him alone. I connected to one of the cameras to track down Takamura. He finally found her and tried to reason with her, but she was close to triggering the alarm. So Takamura knocked her out cold and basically kidnapped the daughter of the most powerful organization in the country. Even I had to take my leave because there were these 2 drones pointing at me, so I had to blow them up. On day 53, I went to one of the hideouts to reason with Hanako. At first, she didn't believe us, but then later on she told us that she already knew about her brother killing her father, but she didn't want it to break the family ties. What in the holy Japanese Jesus Bible is going on? And you think Arasaka goons weren't tracking her? Oh boy, I blinked and there were bullets flying through the wall, and then boom, big explosion, and I fell to the ground floor. They took Hanako, but Takamura didn't survive. Of all people, Johnny woke me up and told me to get out of there. So I grabbed my shotgun and blasted my way out of the apartment. We waited for 2 days in the motel, and finally on day 56, Hanako sent a possessed robot to deliver a message. She was down to work with us to expose her brother, and in return I will get a cure. I don't know what she was planning, but I'm down, I guess. When the robot left, I had another episode and dozed off on the street. Johnny had no choice but to take over my body and take me somewhere safe. I saw glimpses of my past memories. I was with Jackie and we saved this random girl during a mission. I also saw Victor and Misty. I even met Evelyn, but I don't even know who they are. I even saw Saburo got murdered by his own son Yorinobu, and Jackie was injured in the car. I was seeing everything, but I couldn't make out the words in the dream. When I woke up, I was at Johnny's place, but it was abandoned. He showed me his military tag, but it was actually his friend's one, who got killed while trying to save Johnny during the war.
Would you take a bullet for me?
I said yes because I knew about his past.
Want to be clear, I will do you no wrong. When the time comes, it'll be my life for yours. I'll agree to get white. Tags are proof of my promise.
I'd do the same for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
He also didn't wanted me to take on Hanako's offer, but we had no other choice. His last wish for me was to take care of Atom Smasher, who killed Johnny. Johnny was not the type of guy, but he was getting sentimental with me. On day 57, I was looking for someone on behalf of Mr. Han. They were lurking around in Dogtown Tunnel. Oh, she was there because of this abandoned military complex. So I helped her retrieve the data. And oh, Mr. Hand is the guy who helped me get rid of Hansen. And now he wanted a new leader for Dogtown. The next day, I met with Mr. Hand again and we discussed on who should be the new leader. Because some people were trying to take control of Dogtown in the absence of Hansen Kurt. In order to bring balance in Dogtown, we had to choose the right leader. And I had to impersonate someone important, a legend some say, Mr. Aguilar. After inserting Aguilar's imprint, I went to see Jago on day 59, who was one of the oppositions, and I needed him to back down from the silly conquests. On the way, Reed called me for the first time since Songbird escaped, and he tried to threaten me because I betrayed FIA. But dude, I was never part of FIA. Anyways, this living legend was not without reputation and style. I met with Jago and killed his right-hand man in front of him. This caused him to back down as he didn't want a war with the Cuban legend. On day 60, I went to see Bandit, who was the right candidate for leading Dogtown, but he wanted help from Arasaka. And Mr. Han knew that Arasaka was too powerful to negotiate with because they will just take control of Dogtown. I did try to convince Bennett, but he was ready to throw hands. So I beat his ass and he finally surrendered. And I told him,
"Do you want the throne? It is mine to give, but to a soldier, not a corporate puppet."
After a few days, I went to Hansen's hotel on day 63 to discuss the future of Dogtown formally. In the building, every soldier knew about this legend Aguilar.
Aguilar, welcome to the Black Sapphire. Hope you, had a pleasant flight.
I went inside and there were two competent leaders and a dead body of Hansen. I chose Bennett to be the leader, but he wanted Jago to work under him and compromise his financial information. So I decided enough is enough and Bennett will not be threatening Jago because he already got the position. And if they bring chaos to this beautiful city, I'll be back to take care of things. And this ended our meeting and everyone was satisfied. On day 64, I got a call and it was Songbird. I went to her location and she wasn't looking too good. I don't know how, but she convinced some people to get her a ticket to the moon. They got facilities in the moon to extract neural matrix and get a cure for both of us. Honestly, I was lost by this point, but you do you, woman. We went to NCX to hack the system and get her inside without alerting the FIA. I was getting flashbacks of my past mission with Jackie. Inside NCX, I got in trouble with one of the security guards and they locked me up. So I broke out and made my way to the roof while beating a few guards, I suppose. There were also these robotic officers that I had to take care of. I went to the roof and pulled Songbird because she was stuck on the ground. From there, we tried to get to the space station. And on the way, the FIA were already alerted and they were searching for us. We even saw Myers telling Reed to kill Songbird if necessary. And if Reed was ready to do it, that's when I completely lost trust in Myers, Reed's, and the FIA. As we went down to the station, the FIA personnels were already waiting for us. They were leagues above everyone else. I had never encountered a more stubborn individuals before. They would just keep coming like, how many of you are there? They surrounded the entire station, but we were able to escape and hid in one of the shops where Songbird took some time to rest. And that's when a chopper showed up and tried to chop us into pieces. So we made a run for it and finally reached the control station to launch the spacecraft. But I wasn't ready for the number of FIA personnels that showed up. There were like so many of them. I was keep circling the entire control station to get rid of them, but they would just keep showing up. And when the chopper pulled up, I thought we were done for. So Songbird decided to get past the wall and release the black pearls. I had to join too, and together we had the world at our fingertips for a few moments. With the black pearls, I was able to get inside the soldiers' neural network and fried them and pulled the chopper towards us to crush it, and we barely survived. And finally we jumped on the train to get to the station, but there were soldiers still coming, so I had no choice but to fry their brains. It was one of the most disturbing scenes ever. In the train, she told me that she regretted betraying Reeds, but he wasn't the only one because she also betrayed me. The neural matrix she was talking about can only be used once. So basically, she used me to get to the station. Great. Now I didn't know what to do. Should I help her get to the station or leave her here to die? Or I could just call Reed to take care of things. I still decided to help Songbird because I would have wanted someone to help me if I was in her position. On the way to the station, I encountered Reed. He was waiting for us. He was gonna kill me if I didn't hand over Songbird because she tried to kill the president. So I put her down and tried to reason with Reed.
That biz 7 years ago. Song followed Myers' order. but never forgave herself for it. Gonna be the same for you. Remorse to the end of your days.
But this ain't about Song anymore, V. No, this is about her not sparking another war.
At the end, I had no choice but to kill him. It hurts because at some point I considered Reed as a friend, and now he's dead. I grabbed Songbird and put her in the aircraft. I lost a good friend just to help someone who betrayed me, but they also needed help.
So many died to save one life. Sure as hell hope it was worth it.
I'm not sure if I did the right thing, but me and Johnny waited till the aircraft launched in the sky.
She has just a bit of what I lacked entirely. Fucking luck.
We were back to square one and still needed a cure for this. And at that moment, it hit me like a truck and I remembered everything from the past. On day 1, I was fixing my nose after a bar fight and went to see Kirk. Apparently, one of my friends owed him some money, so I had to do this job to repay his debts. I was told to steal one of these luxury cars from the car park without alerting NCPD. I went to see Padre to get the device that would unlock the car and would silence the alert system. I went to the parking lot and found the car. As I went inside, someone pointed the gun at me, and it was Jackie. He was also there to steal the car. We were arguing and someone alerted the NCPD, and now we were captured. The next day we got out of jail. We were sitting outside and talked about why we took the job in the first place. Since we were both from the streets and we knew how this shit works, we became instant friends. He introduced me to his family and I stayed with them for some time. We did a few gigs for Padre and bought ourselves a new ride. I also met Dr. Victor for the first time. We chased a loser down the street and got drunk in the club. We also got into bar fights and infiltrated a gang site. We bought new weapons and blasted a few street gangs. And finally, after 8 days, we found a real biz. It was a rescue mission, but first we had to deal with the gangs who kidnapped the victim. We slowly made our way inside and blasted all the goons. They were crazy to say the least, but we finally found the victim inside the ice bag. I called the emergency evacuation team to dispatch immediately, while I carried the victim to the balcony for them to pick her up. We got out of the building, but they were tracking us down on the street, so I had no choice but to blast them while Jackie was driving. Afterwards, Jackie raised up a police officer and I finally got to my apartment. On day 9, I met with Jackie about a new base and I also went to see Dr. Wick to upgrade my cyberware. Afterwards, I went to see Dexter for the first time. Apparently, this biz was for him. We had to steal this robotic spider from the psycho gangs. They were unpredictable and crazy nut jobs, but it was our fault for not going through with our end of the bargain. We literally blasted the big man and stole the robot. Obviously, they weren't gonna just let us go, so we had to blast our way out of there. On day 10, I went to the club to meet with Evelyn for the first time, and she introduced me to Judy. Judy had this device that would go back in time to investigate the crime scene through audio, video, and thermal sensors. On day 11, I met with Claire for the first time. She was a bartender, and after a few drinks, I went to catch up with the rest of the gang about this big heist mission. Okay, so we had to get inside the Kenobi Plaza, avoid the security, and steal the relic from Saburo. We needed the robot spider to hack into their systems and turn off the security. Me and Jackie also negotiated our end of the deal and we agreed on 35%. The next day, we suited up and hired a self-driving car for the getaway and went to the plaza. Me and Jackie had a few words on the way.
My whole life I've spent in this shit around us, and I ain't going back.
Inside the plaza, we checked in and went to the room. From there, I took control of the spider and went to the security room to hack the system. Once everything was set in place, we made our way to Yorinobu's penthouse to steal the relic. We had a few seconds to open the safe and get the relic, but the security was already alerted. So we grabbed the safe and hid inside the TV. There, Saburo came to see his son. Apparently, Yuri was selling something to the outsiders and Saburo deemed it to be treason. So Yuri panicked and strangled his own father. Me and Jackie were the only witnesses. The security was alerted and the plaza went into lockdown. We had no choice but to get away through a balcony. But there was a drone waiting outside and started blasting us. So we had no choice but to jump from the roof into the maintenance room. There, Jackie got injured and the safe was damaged and it could no longer keep the relic at an optimum temperature. So Jackie had no choice but to insert the relic inside his brain to keep it safe. We made our way slowly down the plaza while blasting all these Japanese goons. They were very hard to deal with, but I had gotten used to this classic shotgun. It was very satisfying blasting anyone who would dare getting close. Finally, we made our way into the underground car park and jumped into the self-driving car to get away. We were even chased by the drones, but somehow we made it out of there alive, or at least that's what I thought. Jackie was injured bad and he was losing a lot of blood. I was panicking, but there was nothing I could do. He gave me the relic and died in the car. Jackie was my best friend, or you could say my big brother. He helped me a lot and even gave me a home, but I couldn't do anything to save him. I put the relic inside my head and went to see Dexter for help, but he wanted nothing to do with us because Arasaka put our faces all over the news for the murder of Saburo. Even Dexter thought we killed the Emperor Saburo, but it wasn't true. Just so that he could save his ass, Dexter's bodyguard sucker punched me and then he blasted me right into my skull. It all makes sense now, but I couldn't even mourn Jackie's death because I had lost my memories. Now I know why Johnny hated Arasaka so much, because they took his gal and my best friend. Now they had to pay for their crimes, especially Yorinobu. Anyways, after a few days of rest, on day 76 I went to see Alex. She knew about Reed but still wanted to know how he died. I told her, listen, loyalty to FIA got him killed. I have been neglecting myself for a while, so it was nice to treat myself with a brand new car on day 77. And the next day I went to see Panam because their leader Saul was kidnapped by the rats and I had to rescue him. When we reached the campsite, I blasted every single one of these rats until I found Saul. We got out of the site and regrouped in the van. As we were riding, we got caught in the middle of a sandstorm while the rats were following us too. We took care of the rats but couldn't travel any further, so we took shelter in one of the abandoned homes in the desert for the night. Panam was grateful for me helping her, but she was getting way too comfortable with me because she put her sweaty legs on me, but I was too tired, so I pushed her away and went to sleep for the night. The next day, Panam gave me her sniper rifle and we all went our separate ways. The next day, I took my new whip for a drive and it was pretty satisfying. I also met with Claire, who was a street racer. It was the perfect opportunity for me to test my new wheels, but I got a call from Judy that Evelyn took her own life and it was devastating. I tried to comfort Judy, even gave her Evelyn's cigar case. Anyways, on day 81, I went to purchase my first apartment in the heart of Night City and it was pretty elegant Japanese themed carpet plaza apartment. On day 82, I went to see Claire again for my first ever street race. Racing on the streets of Night City with neon lights is something else. It was very relaxing compared to my past encounters with FIA and launching a spacecraft. I don't know how this is legal, but everyone was blasting at each other while racing. At the end, we won the race, but we needed to win 3 more races to qualify for the actual race. On day 83, I bought an old racket for Johnny and he also wanted to take over my body for something important. I decided to trust him and it didn't go well because he got drunk, got into fights, went to a strip club, even got himself a hooker, crashed my car. Like, what in the actual fuck, dude? On day 84, I went to see Panam. She wanted me to help her steal this military grade hovercraft, but their leader Saul was against it because of the safety of the people. But we did it anyways. We went to an abandoned train station to launch the train, to block the road and steal their trucks. We waited the night and the next day we attacked the military escort and stole their trucks. One of the trucks had the hovercraft. During our mission, my relationship with Panam was also getting interesting. I mean, we were kinda into each other, but it didn't last long because the next day I got a tip that there was this really cool muscle car waiting for me in the car park of Hansen's facility in Dogtown. So I had to go and recover it. After blasting the security, I finally got the car and it was really cool. And the next day, Panam called me again to try to ride this hovercraft, or as they call it, bossele. I mean, sure, I wouldn't mind. It's not like I have something better to do. But when I got there, Saul was very angry for the fact that we ambushed a military escort, but whatever, dude. Me and Panam got inside this bossele and started driving it. It was really cool. It could hover over the roads and shoot missiles. During all this, we got a call that the Raffens came back to attack the campsite with full force. So we went back and blasted every single one of them with bossele. After everything was said and done, they wanted to move away from this place to stay safe. Panam wanted me to join them, but she didn't knew that I don't have much time to live. During our discussion, I had another seizure and went unconscious, so they took me with them. After 2 days, I woke up and saw Panam waiting for me. She was very confused, so I had to tell her everything. And the reason why I couldn't stay because I had to find a fix for my problem. At the end, she was understandable and she let me go. On day 90, I went to my second race with Claire, but it was off-road. During our race, we got caught in the middle of the sandstorm, but still I was able to win. The next day, I got a call from Rogue. She wanted to meet because when Johnny took over my body, he told her everything. So now she wanted to find Atom Smasher and get revenge for Johnny. She even gave me Johnny's samurai jacket. It was really cool. We went to the dock station and blasted everyone on the way and finally got into the ship. There we were supposed to find someone who knew where Atom Smasher was. We beat the shit out of him and got Atom Smasher's location. And Rogue wanted to kill him, but he had a surprise for me if I let him go. So I took the chance and he gave me a key to one of the containers in the dock. I opened the container and there it was Johnny's old car. It was a classic Porsche GT. One of the most exciting cars I have ever had the pleasure of driving. And the next day I went to our final race, but I wasn't feeling myself, so we came second. After the race, Claire told me that she was doing this to get revenge for her husband who died during a race, and she was looking for the one who killed him. And the next day I had promised Johnny that I will let him take control of my body to take Rogue on a date and spike the old flames of the past. I also told Rogue and she agreed, so I picked her the same evening and we went to watch a movie, or should I say Johnny. They talked during the movie, but Johnny fumbled the moment and Rogue went away without them kissing. On day 94, I went to see Carrie, who was Johnny's old band member from the heydays. At first he didn't recognize me, but after playing the guitar he knew I was Johnny. We told him everything and Johnny wanted to do one last performance with the band members. Now we had to find others. The next day I got a call from Claire for the actual race, but it wasn't about the race, it was about one of the participants. During the entire race we were following this one guy who apparently killed Claire's husband, and when we found him, Claire did some interrogation and he told us that it wasn't his fault. Claire's husband's death was just an accident during the race, but she didn't believe him and blasted his brains off. Even though I told her that he was telling the truth, but she did it anyways. So I left her be. This bitch is crazy. On day 96, I went to rescue Nancy from the Psycho Gang. She was one of Johnny's band members. The next day, I recruited another band member, and on day 97, finally all the band members were back together. We went to the Red Dirt to perform one last time and I let Johnny take over. It was one of the best performances ever and Johnny's guitar skills are immaculate. Okay, enough of all this. I gotta do something about my relic. So I had no choice but to meet with Hanako, and Johnny was against it as he didn't want me to make a deal with the devil. On day 98, I went to see Hanako and she basically wanted me to overthrow her brother from the company and be a witness against her brother during the board meeting for the murder of her father. I told her that I'll think about it, and during my elevator ride back, Johnny was very pissed. We had an argument regarding the deal and I passed out again. Johnny took over my body and brought me to Victor the next day. He gave me some drugs to ease the pain for the moment and told me that I had to do something about my relic or else I was gonna die. Victor gave me two options, pill or a bullet, but the choice was mine. Misty was listening to all this and she took me to the roof where Jackie had also faced the same predicament, but he wanted to live to create a good life for himself. She left me on the roof with Johnny. I brought Arasaka's deal again, but Johnny wasn't having it, and I can understand. Anyways, Johnny told me that I should call those who are close to me to say my goodbyes, but I was never really close to anyone except for Jackie, but he's dead. The closest thing to a friend I had was Johnny. We reminisced about our first encounter in the landfill and how he tried to kill me, and after some time I decided to not let anyone else die because of me. Even Johnny was surprised.
Never really gave it a thought. Funny how you still manage to surprise me sometimes. Is it time?
You know, it really is beautiful.
Been nice working with you, V.
Yeah. With you too, Johnny.
Psych, I took the pill to get Johnny out of my head and called Hanako to let her know that I'm taking the deal. The next day, Hanako's driver took me to where Yuri was keeping her captive and I had to rescue her. So I blasted my way inside and took out all the Arasaka goons, met with Hanako and we got into her private aircraft and made our way to the Arasaka Tower. On day 99, we reached the tower and before the board meeting, Hanako had something to show me and it was Saburo. This guy had already uploaded his conscious to the network before his death. What the? This old f is crazy. I was able to meet the virtual Saburo for the first time since his death. Anyways, we made it to the meeting but everyone seemed to be ignoring my testimony as if they already knew what was going on but decided to go along with it. Hanako had no choice but to turn on virtual Saburo and he ordered everyone to follow Hanako from now on. And during all this, Yorinobu soldiers decided to open fire at everyone. So now it was getting personal. I blasted everyone in the vicinity and made my way to the upper floors. But I had to kill a lot of soldiers to get to Yorinobu. It wasn't easy but I had Hanako's private security to help me take over the building. But these Arasaka goons had drones, auto machine guns and robots in every floor. After blasting my way to the final floor, I finally met Atom Smasher, the guy who killed Johnny. He had everything in his arsenal: speed, power, bullets and lasers. What the? He even had rockets to blast my ass if I get too close. But even that wasn't enough. He had to call his goons to back him up. By the end, it looked like a massacre, but I was able to blast him into the afterlife with my shotgun. And now there was no one left to save Yorinobu from me. When I got to his room, I thought I would have to fight him, but he was already defeated and he was looking for his sister Hanako. In that moment, I lost my conscience one last time and met Johnny over the black wall. Johnny was disappointed because I took the deal and didn't listen to him. I was still grateful for everything he did for me. We said our last words and went our separate ways. I woke up in some mental hospital and they ran a few tests to see if I'm good. And after some time, Hellman came back to give me an offer. The only way they could save me was that if I transfer my conscience into a new body. I did all this for nothing. I decided to not take the deal and on day 100 they put me in the pod to send me back to Earth. Apparently I was floating in the space. At that moment I saw a glimpse of the Earth I've known my entire life. The only friend I had was gone. Actually both of them. Actually all three men I thought were my friends were gone. Jackie, Reeds and Johnny. But that's the price I had to pay. Taking the bullet on the roof wasn't as bad after all.